Okay, so I'm here with Andy Willcox. Andy, do you just want to give us a quick introduction and overview as to what you do? And one of the first questions I had for you was around what got you started in the trades, who or what was your inspiration?
Okay, brilliant. Yeah, so my name's Andy Willcox, and I'm an electrician. I run my own business. Inventively, Andy Willcox Electrical. That's what I came up with, an inventive name there. And I've run it twice actually. I've had my own electrical company twice because I had a little hiatus in the middle, which we'll talk about that in a minute. And also recently, because of this coronavirus thing, and I saw a lot of my sort of trade colleagues not being able to get any work. I started this little sort of YouTube channel, which I put on LinkedIn, which is called Toolbox Heroes, just like yourself. We just want to help other people, tradespeople out there, and just give them some marketing advice and, just a bit of a arm around the shoulder, say it's all right, we're going to be okay. But it was my dad, actually. He was, ever since I was like early teens, probably 13, 14, and he'd always been in the engineering trade, in the electrical engineering trade. And he just kept on and on all the time about that I should be a tradesperson. You should get a trade. You can never go wrong with a trade. You should always get a trade. And I always want to be actually something medical and like a doctor or something. But he said, if you get a trade, you never. And when you're a young kid, what does he bloody know about life? Of course, you didn't realise at the time they know everything about life, don't they? So I did. I went to college and trained to be an electrician, and he was damn right. I've managed to come back to this. Every time I've taken a different route in the career, I've always come back to electrician, and it's always been the one thing, that trade, that I can get work instantly, because people always want tradespeople, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And do you think that's still the case? Do you think? I think that's probably the case now more than ever, because as we switch towards sort of AI and robots and all that sort of stuff, I think it's going to be generations before we see robots starting to rewire houses and all that sort of stuff. So, do you think it's still your kids or whatever? Would you sort of advise them to kind of get into the trades?
I think I would. Well, there's two answers to that. One, I wouldn't, because I'm bloody knackered all the time. My knees are knackered. All my muscles ache all the time. I always kind of covered in crap and dust, and face is always fluffing below your nose, is always black on it. So well, for one reason, I'd say don't do that, because it knackers your body, because you're always chromatics and things. But just like my dad said, I don't think there'll never be a robot that can. I don't think in our lifetime there'll ever be a robot that can go to someone's house and wire and chase. That just won't happen. We're not on that Will Smith film yet, where all those robots doing everything. So it's sort of, I want them to, because I never went to university. I really, really wish I'd gone to university.
There's still time.
There's still time, yeah. But we're always working, aren't we? I haven't got time to do all that studying. So yeah, I would and I wouldn't. I'd like them to have a trade, because I've proven myself that you can always fall back on it, and you can always get work. But also it does make you very tired. And working for yourself as a tradesperson, you're always invoicing and quoting. I never get home till sort of 8:30 most nights. So yeah, a bit of both really. But they all want to be TikTokers, don't they? They want to be YouTubers and not do any work at all.
Yeah, it's all about the gram, instant fame, followers, likes. It's a different.
Yeah, that's an X Factor and all that stuff. They think that is the way to go, and fair play to the people who've done it, because some of the guys that they watch on YouTube, my kids, they make millions every year. But it's not the real world, is it? Unfortunately, and I know it. Like every industry, every trade industry out there, they have got such a shortage of apprentices, because they don't want to apply for the jobs. And when they do come and be apprentices, they're always on their phones looking at TikTok.
Or creating TikToks. So we're going to see an Andy Willcox TikTok channel anytime soon.
No, I'm way too old for that. I think you've got to be sort of 13. You've got to be 13 and able to dub to videos, haven't you, to be on that?
I think you'd very quickly be TikTok famous. So what was the kind of first time around when you're in the trade? What was one of the biggest lessons you sort of learned early on in your career?
Well, both the times I've done this trade as a business, they've been very different. The first time I did it, which I started in about 2007, like digital marketing was there, but it wasn't really a big thing. Even Facebook wasn't as big as it was back then. And I didn't really learn this lesson until the end of that time, because I didn't know anything at all about marketing. I didn't do any marketing at all. I can't believe I didn't even have a website. It's unbelievable. I didn't have a website. The only thing I did was I spent 800 quid on a Yellow Pages advert. 800 pounds it was. I can't believe that amount of money I spent on Yellow Pages, and probably they chucked in a crappy Yell.com website, which you had to pay then every time you wanted to change something. You had to pay. I don't know whether they did do that, or that was later. I can't remember. But I never did any marketing. I didn't put any thought into customer care. Didn't put any thought into collecting people's data for to contact them for future work. And I didn't really learn that lesson until I started learning about marketing myself. This is actually crazy. Why haven't I done that? One other lesson I learned is never work when you work for builders. They stop 20% of your tax on what's called the CIS scheme, and that is the most useless organisation in the world. So that one lesson I learned was I'm never going to do CIS work again because they're useless, because it's part of HMRC. You see.
Yeah. So first time around. So tell me, how did the opportunity with Entrepreneurs Circle come about? How did that go from, because it's interesting, because I sort of did that. I was working for myself, then I went to go and work for a business, and I know that's something you've done. How did the opportunity come about, and how did you find the transition? And there's a reason why I'm asking you that question, because I was on a call this morning. I was on a sort of webinar thing this morning, and the guy shared the 7 rules of entrepreneurship, and rule number 7 is you are now unemployable.
That can be partly true, actually. Yeah. Well, towards that first time I ran that business, towards the end of it, when I started realising I didn't know anything about marketing at all, I sort of got addicted to learning about it. So I bought every book possible, home study book about marketing. For quite a few years. Towards the end of that time, I was just reading every marketing book. My favourite marketer, by the way, for anything, is an American chap called Dan Kennedy. He was like the god of marketing. Any book that he has written, so every book he's written, I've read that book. And I did a lot of home study courses online, and I just couldn't get enough of marketing. I just loved it. I learned loads about it. And Entrepreneur Circle was really like the next step. It was advertising that you come and learn marketing with us, and we show you how to market your business. And I went along to a talk that the owner of that business did, Nigel Botterill. I was in Bath actually when we lived there. And I'm always a bit skeptical of things like that, watching people, talk. So they're always going to sell something.
Yeah.
And I just watched this guy, and I sat there, and I remember thinking, I said that, I'm never going to work for anyone ever again, because I love working for myself, unless a job comes up with this bloke, because I think it'd be an amazing business to work for. And so I was a member of that organisation. I was like one of the members. I was one of the students, I suppose, learning. That was my next step in learning marketing. And I did that for about 18 months, and really got involved in everything. And then he advertised for business coaches, regional business coaches, and we were down in the Southwest down there, and the job came up for Southwest, which meant looking after all the members in the Southwest, just going along and teaching them marketing skills and how to market the business, give them a bit of coaching and a bit of an arm around them and cajole them a little bit. And I got that job, and it was such a brilliant job, because this organisation I've been a member of for the last 18 months, when I was just soaking up all this information, I could now go in that business and learn about how that business was running itself. I did really well at that job, and I did so well. I got promoted to the marketing director of that business. So that's why we moved up to the Midlands, because they're based in Birmingham. And I think I've done 2 apprenticeships in life. My first apprenticeship was in electrics, and my second apprenticeship was in marketing, because I went and worked for one of the most prolific marketers, I think, in the country, one of the best marketers. And that was my second apprenticeship in marketing with him. It was such a great experience, and I learned so much from him.
What was one of the biggest takeaways from that? What did you kind of because you must have soaked up so much knowledge over the years, and learning from someone like Nigel as well. I mean, you know, could you sum it up? Is there one thing that you took away that was like, yeah?
Yeah, there's the one thing that everyone watching this should take away is the first thing that he said in that talk that I first ever saw him when I didn't even know him, and it was that to get great success in business, you know, because I'm an electrician, there's plumbers and plasterers in this, but you have to become the marketer of that business. That was like he called it Botti's rules, and that was his number one. It was like to get success, you have to become the marketer of that business. Yeah. And not think like the doer. So you have everything you do, you have to think and act like a marketing department of your business, rather than, you know, just being the electrician. And that's so true, because we just drive around in our vans, we're never thinking about it. But if we want to get more customers, and there's people sat at home now, maybe we haven't got as much work incoming as we like, we have to stop thinking like an electrician or plasterer or plumber, and we have to think like marketers. So what would the marketing department of your business do? And that was, even working there in that business, we would go in the mornings and we would be just marketing, rather than, because we delivered a lot of courses, and before that happened, we would be marketing the business. And so, true to his word, like he said in those books, that is one of the key things, to think like a marketer.
Yeah. Do you know what? That is an amazing piece of advice. That is a great piece of advice, because, and it comes back to this thing, you know, nobody can do it for you. You know, even guys like me that work in marketing and help, you know, tradespeople with their marketing. You know, you guys are at the sharp end, you're at the front end, you're with the customer, you're on the job. You know, you can do so much when you're there, when you're sat in your van, take before and after pics, get them out on your social media, you know, sort of ask the customer for referrals. You know, a marketer or somebody looking after, you know, a tradesperson's social media, they can't do any of that. They can prompt it, but they can't do any of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. It is thinking like a marketer.
Yeah.
Not like a salesperson, but thinking like a marketer and spotting the opportunities where
That's right. Well, and tradespeople are such a privileged position, because most, you know, like yourself as a business, you work from your office, and you probably do most of your communication from the office with your customers. But we get to go into their houses. They're the most private place in our life. We get to go into the houses, first of all, to go and look at the job and price it up, and then second of all, to go back. And a lot of businesses don't get to do that, to actually talk to them in the houses. So when you're there, you should be thinking, you know, like you said, about asking your thoughts. If I've done a good job, could you know, go past them, or do you leave something behind, you know, as a little gift or something like that? We're so privileged to be in front of people and manage to talk to them. That a lot of businesses don't have that. So that thing about a marketer, like a marketer, you should be doing that all the time. Even when you're driving by, you see adverts, or you something comes in the post for you, and open up the post and you look at it, you think, you should always be thinking, how can I use this? How can I use this in my business? I should be able to do something like this. Because everywhere we look, there's marketing. I mean, what's the average you see every day? It's like 8,000 messages or something, isn't it? On
crazy, and it's the ones you remember are the ones that stick out, the ones that just do something a little bit differently, as Steve Jobs put it. You know, think differently. That was his first Mac campaign. Think differently. You know, and it's so true, and that was relevant then, and it's probably even more relevant now, because everyone just gets bombarded with so many messages. And I think this is an opportunity that tradespeople are missing. That you know, in your area, there will be great tradespeople that do a fantastic job, but are lousy at marketing themselves. So you've got an opportunity to kind of rise above the pack and just do things differently. You know, like you said, just, you know, leave a little gift behind, or follow up with a call, or drop a card in the post, or, you know, just something that just kind of separates you out from the crowd. While we're talking about that, the piece of content that I saw, which I just loved, and you executed it perfectly, brilliantly, is on your YouTube channel. I will put a link to it.
Thank you.
Is the you know, before a tradesperson should spend any money on marketing, it's nailing their processes. You know, is that you learned early on, or was that because one of my other questions was around what's the biggest mistake you know, you see tradespeople make in their business?
Well, it was that. I mean, I spent £800 the first time round on the Yellow Pages advert, and I absolutely had no process at all in once those leads came in to convert them into customers. It's such a massive mistake. People go and they spend thousands on websites, hundreds of pounds on Facebook and getting leads in, and they get them, and they don't even answer the phone. They've got no answer the phone, because we're always bloody crawling for an attic or something. We can't ever answer the phone. So all that money that we've spent to advertise is completely wasted. So that first video, that was all about the process that I made, which I didn't know anything about that the first time around in business. I'd learned this, in the entrepreneur circle. I'd learned that you have to have that conversion process in place. So even before I even started thinking about how to get leads in, I designed that process, and I've tweaked it here and there, because you've got testing to marketing. It's like being a scientist, isn't it? You've got testing to see if they work. And now it's completely bulletproof. Halfway through that conversion process, I get people even giving them price to say, "Oh, actually, I think we want you to do it," because that's what I want them to do. I want them to, by the time they meet me, because we've got that privilege of meeting people in their houses, I want them to want to give me the work, regardless what the price is. But you have to put a lot of work into that. It's like, I was thinking about this driving back the day. I was never lucky enough to go on a dating website, because that all seems quite good fun, doesn't it? All this Tinder and stuff. So it does seem quite good fun. But if I was going on there now, we would have to come up with a fantastic profile and a great photograph of you looking all muscly and stuff, and put so much work into that profile. And then if you go out for the date and then you're just an asshole, and you don't you're sat there burping and passing wind and you're horrible. What a waste of time doing all that stuff on that Tinder profile was. And that's the same as marketing. There's no point doing all that work getting it in if you haven't got that conversion process in place. And like I say, because we're privileged to go into people's houses, there's so much more that we can do physically with people, giving them things and stuff, than you can when you're sort of just doing it digitally.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I'll just share something really quickly. You're talking about dating sites. So a few years ago, when I was dating, I'm not now. I'm happily in a relationship. But a few years ago, when I was being a marketer, of course, I would spend my days testing things, testing different pictures, testing different messages, for the companies that I was working for. So I decided to employ the same sort of tactics when I was on the dating site. So for a week, I would test a particular picture and just see if it would get any interest. Then if that didn't get any interest, I'd put another one up. Then I'd change my headline and just sort of run that for a week. And okay, there's a couple of people who responded to that. So I'll use that headline with that picture, and then I'll change the description. Once a marketer, always a marketer.
I could see another Facebook group coming in, mate, with for dating people.
Love it. So before we sort of jumped onto this, we were talking about how difficult it is for tradespeople right now. Some of them are completely down-tooled, although most of them are starting to come back. Some of them have been able to operate in some form during lockdown. I mean, if your electrics go off, you still need an electrician. If your plumbing fails, or your heating goes, or the boiler packs up, or the water pump goes, you still need a plumber. But for the trades sort of finding themselves in a quite an unusual position, because all the tradespeople I've known over the years have been really busy and never really had to fight for the work. But coming through this, what would be your advice to tradespeople coming through lockdown to try and restart their business, rebuild their awareness in their community, and ultimately get leads into their business, which is what it's about?
Yeah, I mean, in the lockdown period, if you're still at home now and you haven't done this, the first thing you should do is go through your list of all your past customers. So all of my part of my conversion process is they take their email address and they take their phone number, of course. So I've got an email address for every single person that's ever contacted me, even if they become a customer or they haven't. So I have got all those email addresses. And it takes a lot of time to do this if you haven't been doing this as you go along. But go through, all of your list of customers are on your accounts anyway. So you just go back through your accounts and have a look through and try and match up the email addresses if you can, and just I would build two databases, email databases. So one is customers that you have served in the past and they paid you money, and then the other one are contacts, people that have contacted you for just advice, or maybe you've quoted them and they haven't accepted the quote this time. And then I would I would, and people start talking about, oh, what about the GDPR thing? When we're up against the wall and we're struggling and we haven't got any work coming in, I'll worry about that later on. And plus, on my sign up forms on my website and stuff, that stuff's all covered anyway. So I've sort of got permission to go out and contact them again. I can't see any police coming and knock on the door because I've sent someone an email. Not when I'm trying to feed my family. I'm not really going to worry about that. Sorry, GDPR, whatever it's called. So those two lists, and I would just go out with them. Don't go out all salesy. Go, oh, give me some work. Just go out and say that I'm available. I'm still delivering a service. Or what I did with my lists in the lockdown, the first email I sent was, because most of them are local, I said, are you stuck? Do you need any medicines collected? Do you need any shopping from the shops, anything like that? And people appreciated that. And then the second one, I've got some videos on YouTube, how to do certain things. So I'd send out a video, how to reset an RCD. And if I can't get to you, then this is how you reset your fuse board. And do you want to change a socket or something like that? Here's how to change a socket safely, things like that. Just going back to them, because they don't get up in the mornings going, oh God, Andy Willcox, that electrician, he was great, was it? I must get him to come out. You've got to remind them that you still exist. So that would be the first thing that I would do. And the second thing, sort of tied on to that, is I would say, somewhere in that email, I'd say that do you need any work doing at the moment? It'd be fantastic. But if you don't, do you know anybody else that would need my services? Because everybody knows other people, don't they? And people might not come back to you straight away, but they might, in a week or so, someone will go, oh, do you know an electrician? They go, yeah, I do actually. The guy emailed me. So the place always to start is with your past customers. You've got a whole list of people that you've dealt with in the past. You just need to remind them that you're still there and available to go and work for them.
That's great advice. Thank you for sharing that. That's great advice. It reminds me, another business mentor out there, a chap called Brad Burton. I'm sure you've heard of him.
I know Brad. Yeah, I spoke with Brad a few times.
So I've been to enough of his talks where he talks about Manchester motivation, which is if you had a gun against your head and you had to get some business in, like where would you go first? And of course, you would start with your friends, your family, your inner circle, your past customers, your contacts. You would start there before you go spending money on paid advertising, Google, Facebook, whatever. You would start in your inner circle because they're the ones in a crisis that are more likely to help you.
Yeah, that's right.
I always remember that, Manchester motivation.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great advice, Andy. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, you're welcome.
The final question I had, and it's one that sort of crops up from time to time when I'm speaking to customers and we're talking about different platforms that they could be active on. You're really active on LinkedIn. You put out some amazing content on LinkedIn. Is that a platform you can see working for most tradespeople? Would you advocate trades jumping on LinkedIn and sort of getting themselves out there on that?
I never used LinkedIn for years. I used to go onto LinkedIn and I think it's like stuffy like accountants just writing that's really boring stuff on there. And just people shouting at you all the time, and you must do this in business to grow and all that sort of stuff. So I left it alone a little bit, and I can't remember. I think it was just before the lockdown. I was like, I'll have a look at LinkedIn again, and it seemed to sort of changed over the time that I hadn't been on it. And there was some really cool people on there. There's one guy. His name's Craig Brooks, and he runs a double glazing business. He's this massively built guy with this big beard, He's still going to die a colour. You'd be like, bloody hell, this guy looks good. He's such a lovely guy. And I wasn't active, and I was just reading one of his posts, and it said, since I've been in LinkedIn, and he put all these figures down saying, I have quoted and won £27,000 worth of work. We've won an extension doing this, and he listed. I was like, that's bloody amazing how a window company can go on LinkedIn and make this money. So I messaged him. I said, mate, what's the secret to this LinkedIn? Do you have to post at a certain time of day? He said, mate, just go on there and be yourself, and that's just the way I've done it. Well, I'll give that a try then. But I think it's worked well for him, and maybe he covers it. But the problem is with LinkedIn is worldwide. So I mean, I've got people commenting on stuff. Some people from New Zealand, I've just watched you, but that's great. So I can't, if it was electrical wise, I couldn't go out there and wire stuff up for them. So I think one of the problems with LinkedIn is you can't sort of geographically target who is seen. It goes out everywhere, which can be powerful for people like yourself in marketing, because you don't have to go visit them. So it is an absolutely amazing tool. But if I was new to LinkedIn and I thought, what can I do on there? You always have to think about giving value away. So every week, the first thing I did on there, I posted a video. I've got these YouTube videos, like I said, about how to change a socket, how to change a scene and light, and how to do things like this. And I didn't think, I'm not going to get it work from it. But someone might see it and go, oh, I've changed the scene light. But the on the tools saw it. Someone on LinkedIn, I was linked to somewhere, because when someone likes something on LinkedIn, their entire network see that they liked it. That's why it's so powerful. It's amazing, really. So on the tools contacted me, and the first thing they wanted me to do, they said I was a social media influencer, because I've got this YouTube channel that's got like, I don't know, 1,200 followers on it or something, because people just want to see how to do a bit of DIY. But that's an influencer. And the first thing they wanted me to do was they were running a charity event for the Lighthouse Foundation to get some money in. That's a brilliant charity. It gives money to tradespeople that are struggling. So I made this little video for them, and I did it in my little studio and edited it and stuff. And they were like, Jesus Christ, we've never seen a tradesperson send a video like this before. Usually you're sat in the back of the van, talking with us. So, well, I don't know, I like to do things properly. So they said, well, we do this thing called Talking Trade, which is a weekly sort of podcast sort of live episode on Facebook. Would you like to be one of the experts on it, one of the guest experts? I said, yeah, I'd love to do that. It was brilliant. Of course, this is back in the lockdown when we're all at home, so it was easy to do. I've done that like 3 or 4 times now. And if you just go on there, just like we're talking now, and you've got like a couple more guests, and it's just so great because all tradespeople are watching it. And if I can get something in there, last time I managed to get it in there about how to do this marketing, just think about this, and I spoke about bounce back loans because a lot of people didn't know about them, and it's just so lovely to help people just by doing something like this. So LinkedIn is very powerful. But I'm not sure whether it would work for getting a job for Mrs. Jones at the road.
No, it's a difficult one, isn't it? So you're sort of leading the charge of this new crop of kind of tradesmen that are becoming, sort of influencers in their own right. I mean, how does your wife or kids, how do they feel about sharing a house with an influencer like yourself?
Oh, it's so. My wife is completely over her head. She doesn't. She doesn't. She's been a nurse all her life. She doesn't get anything about business. God bless her. Probably the best way to be to keep out of it. But the kids. It's so funny. I was just telling them I'm going to do this chat with you today. They're like, "Oh, what's it going to be on YouTube? What's like on a YouTube channel? Is it like a social influencer?" No, just trying to Steve on about some trade stuff. So it's actually quite cool for them because all they watch is YouTube all the time. And my son who's 12, my younger son is 12, is always checking the analytics on my YouTube channel. Oh yeah, I've spotted today you've got another 30 subscribers a day, and if you monetize it and all this sort of stuff, he knows more about it than I bloody do. He's 12, so the kids, for some reason, because anything you do like this, they think you're a celebrity, which is absolutely ridiculous. So it doesn't really help with me trying to get them a proper job, does it? They want to be on TikTok.
Yeah.
But, they're good. They're good. They're supportive. I've got it all out in the camera, so it doesn't really impose on them. Really.
So do you think tradespeople are going to become the new Kardashians, do you think? Is that
yeah, or the new David Brents, maybe, you never know.
I see a few, the other one that I sort of follow, and I'd love to get him doing one of these things. Maybe I'll approach him, is Jack from a company called Glow Heating.
Yes, yeah, Jack's a great guy.
I see him. So I see a lot of the, up and coming sort of tradespeople and more established trades like yourself, which was a polite way of saying you're a little bit older than Jack.
Grayer.
But just putting out really great content, understanding social media, getting it, and just helping, which is what it's all about.
It's fantastic.
It's great to see. Listen, Andy, it's been amazing chatting to you. There's so many nuggets in there. It's going to take me days to kind of cut this up into some bite-sized chunks. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
having a chat with us today. As I say, it's going to go into our group, but I don't want to leave without giving the opportunity to give your YouTube channel a plug, and we'll obviously drop a link to it in the comments as well.
Yeah, brilliant. So every Wednesday morning, I drop a video. I've only just started doing it. Sounds like I've been doing it for years, doesn't it? But it's all about marketing. I'm not selling anything. I've got anything to sell, unless you want your house rewired. But I did work as a marketing director and a business coach for 5 years. So if you're out there struggling, or you think, how do I need, well, you're not struggling, you want to get some more leads, or you want to work on your customer care, just subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's called Toolbox Heroes, because we're all heroes in a way, aren't we? We're actually the backbone to the UK economy. We repair and fix and build everything. So we are heroes. So we're toolbox heroes. That's why I call it that. And I put that as every Wednesday morning. But if you're scared of missing it, because the LinkedIn, one of the problems with LinkedIn, the algorithm is actually ridiculous. If you post something 1 minute later, then the people you want to see it never see it. So also we can put the links. I've got a little a sign up thing where you can register to have the videos delivered to your inbox on the Friday morning. So Wednesdays it goes live on Facebook and YouTube, and if you want it into your mailbox so you can digest it, because the first one was 18 minutes long, and some people haven't got that much time to watch it on social media. So I've got a little registration page that you can get it sent into your box, and hopefully you'll pick something up and you can do so. That's the key. You got to do something. You can't just by watching the video. It doesn't mean the phone's going to ring now. I've watched that video. You have to implement things. That's the key to it. You got to take action. So hopefully it'll help a few people out there.
100%. And your first video, I think that's a must watch for anyone either working in trades or just getting started or getting into the business. So we'll drop a link to it in there. So thank you so much for chatting today, and we will hopefully see you again really soon in one of your future videos.
Good man. Cheers, buddy.